breath.
Ready?
It's been...
Okay. So the title of my eventual memoirs will be First World Problems, with the subtitle, My Boyfriend's a Tranny and I Have Grilled Cheese. Here's why. So I was at dinner with a friend of mine one night, and we had gotten together specifically to talk about how my boyfriend's a tranny, and this is a little awkward at first. And we went to this local restaurant, you know, lots of vegan, vegetarian, way too healthy for you food, and I had a grilled cheese and tomato sandwich, and it was delicious, but I didn't want it all, and because this is a proper grilled cheese sandwich, it's cut in half, you know, in triangles, because that's the way you do grilled cheese. And so I ate the first half of it, and I was like, you know, I really don't want the rest of this, and I'm never going to want it again, but I don't want to throw it away, because that would be wasteful. So I'm going to give it to a homeless person, but I can't look for a homeless person. And this is really immaterial to the point of the story, which is that my boyfriend is a tranny. Anyway, we did end up giving the grilled cheese sandwich to a homeless person after walking around talking for way too long about how the usual residents of our neighborhood street corners were not where we expected them to be, and this led to a much greater conversation about both of these issues, that my boyfriend's a tranny and I have grilled cheese, and these are things that nobody anywhere else but in an overprivileged, completely spoiled first world country would even worry about. So the initial reason that we had gotten together was because I was having coming out problems. And at first blush, this sounds really unfair, but what was happening was I've been out as first bi and then queer since I was 15, depending on how you want to count. So this is even when I've been dating boys, which has happened, it's very important to me to maintain some sense and projection of my queer identity, because it's a big part of myself and it's very important to me, and maybe it's just that I'm a spoiled American brat and I want to be special in some way. So I was dating this girl, and then all of a sudden this girl was a boy, except it wasn't really all that sudden and nobody was really all that surprised, and you know, we all saw it coming from several hundred miles away, but it's still kind of like, how do you deal with that? Because I've, you know, you get to, what do you mean, how did I see it coming? No, I'm not very good at being subtle, nor are you. So, to go from having this very easy way of coming out by talking about, oh, my girlfriend and I this past weekend did whatever, or, you know, things like that, to how do I, especially because the person I'm seeing hasn't changed, so how do I bring this up in conversation without making a whole big thing about it? And if I, you know, it became kind of this catch-22 in a way, where if I am honest about his identity, I lose a sense of my own, but if I'm honest about mine, I am necessarily, or not honest, but if it becomes more important to me to out myself through discussion of the person I'm with, then that's being dishonest about him in a way. And all of this is kind of unfair, and I don't want to do it. So the solution at that point just became never talk about my personal life. And that doesn't work either, because you go crazy. So it was really awkward. I'm in this academic program that's full of girls, like girls. There are 35 of us in my class, and I'm the only one who even has short hair. So the gender dynamics are not something I'm particularly used to, because I haven't spent a lot of time with girls, and I really don't care what you wore to the party last weekend or what you're doing at the bar tonight. So they would all talk about their boyfriends and their fiancés and what they were demanding of them at various points in time, and, you know, what kind of ring they want when he eventually proposes. And I'm just sitting around going, well, nobody's asking me if I'm seeing anyone, so I'm just not even going to bring it up, even though it's really important to all of the rest of you and kind of a big part of the rest of my life and why I don't talk to you about what I'm doing outside of class. And then Thanksgiving weekend happened, and the family situation, and Monday I was at work-ish with one of the other girls in my class, and I had gotten there a little bit late, having gotten, you know, 3 hours of sleep the night before because I'd been up dealing with other people's problems. And what I initially told her was, you know, I'm having some personal issues, it's been a rough weekend, all this stuff. And she let it go, and we had other things to do, and it got to be lunch, and we went and sat and were eating together, and she asked me, you know, so what's going on? Do you want to talk about any of this stuff? And at that point, I was just so exhausted that it became way more important to talk about it and take the chance that maybe it wouldn't be okay than to not talk about it and know that it probably wouldn't. So I just kind of, not the whole thing came out, but quite a great deal of it. And you just sit there and go, my boyfriend's transgender and his parents just found out and they're not taking it well. And then it doesn't really matter what you say after that because, you know, she automatically does, oh, you know, the sympathetic head nod, and I'm really sorry that that's happening, and, you know, when my brother came out to our parents, it was really hard for them too. And it's just so much more beneficial to have taken that risk and end up making that connection. And even if she'd said, how can you be putting yourself in this situation, like, that's so wrong or whatever, at least then I would have known what I was dealing with. And instead, you know, we're all the closer for it. So even when it's hard, it's more important to do it right than to not do it at all.